You can run a 10K, have zero symptoms, and feel fantastic, all while a Widowmaker blockage is growing inside you. How is that possible? Because biology doesn't care how fast you can run. Your body is so good at adapting that it can mask a 90% blockage, keeping your blood flowing perfectly right up until the second it stops. This is why for half of all men, the very first symptom of heart disease isn't pain, it's sudden death. In this video, I'm going to show you why the healthy heart fails, how your body hides these ticking time bombs, and the only way to actually check your heart before it's too late. To understand why a healthy engine fails, we have to strip away the chest wall. When we study the anatomy of the heart, we see a muscle that demands more oxygen than almost any other tissue. To get that oxygen, it relies on a network of vessels wrapped around it, known as the coronary arteries. Early anatomists thought these vessels looked like a crown, which is where coronary comes from. But I want you to think of them as the root system of a massive tree. If one of those roots is severed, the branch it supports dies almost instantly. We have two main players here, the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery. The left branches into a massive vessel called the left anterior descending artery, or the LD. In the emergency room, we have a grim nickname for this specific vessel, the Widowmaker. The reason is simple geometry. The L supplies blood to the front and bottom of the left ventricle, the heart's main pumping chamber. If you block a small twig, you lose a leaf. If you block the trunk, the whole tree falls. A blockage here stops the heart's ability to pump blood to the body, leading to massive tissue death. But how does a blockage form in someone who exercises daily? To understand this, we look at the vessel wall. A healthy artery is flexible, like a brand new rubber garden hose. The inside lining is called the tunica intima. In a perfect world, this lining is smooth like Teflon. Blood cells slide right past it without friction. But life is not perfect. Over decades, factors like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and smoking act like sandpaper on this coating. Even the sheer mechanical stress of high-volume blood flow during decades of intense exercise can cause microscopic scratches and tears. This is where the trouble begins. Your body tries to repair these scratches. It sends LDL cholesterol to the site like spackle to patch a hole. Then the immune system sends white blood cells to inspect the repair. These cells consume the cholesterol, turn into foam cells, and eventually harden. This hardened mixture of cholesterol, calcium, and cellular waste is what we call plaque. This condition is atherosclerosis. Now here is the misconception that gets people killed. Most people imagine plaque buildup like a clog in a bathroom sink. They think the pipe gets narrower and narrower until one day the water just stops. They assume they will feel it happening, that they will get short of breath or feel chest pain as the opening shrinks. That is logically sound but biologically incorrect. The human body is incredibly adaptive. As the plaque grows, the artery wall actually stretches outward to accommodate it, preserving the opening for blood flow. This is positive remodeling. It means you can have a massive amount of plaque, but the tube itself remains 100% open. You have normal blood flow and zero symptoms. You can run a 10K and feel fantastic because the blood is still getting through. This is why the first symptom of heart disease for 50% of men and 64% of women is sudden death. They feel fine until the very second they don't. So what flips the switch? What turns a silent plaque into a fatal event? It comes down to stability. Imagine that plaque deposit is like a blister covered by a thin layer of skin. This is soft plaque filled with inflammatory gunk. If you experience a sudden spike in blood pressure or extreme physical exertion, that thin skin covering the plaque can tear. This is a plaque rupture. When that plaque ruptures, the contents spill into the bloodstream. The body panics. It sees this as a massive open wound and immediately sends platelets to clot the blood. This is exactly what you want if you cut your finger, but it is exactly what you do not want inside your heart. In a matter of minutes, that clot grows so large that it completely seals off the artery. It's not the slow buildup of plaque that killed the flow. It's the sudden rapid formation of the clot. It acts like a cork in a wine bottle. Blood flow hits a brick wall. This is a type 1 myocardial infarction. However, there is another scenario that often affects endurance athletes pushing their limits, the type 2 myocardial infarction. Consider a 50-year-old disciplined runner named Robert. Robert has normal cholesterol. While running a race, he doesn't feel crushing chest pain. He just feels weird. His energy drops. He feels lighted and nauseous. He thinks he's just dehydrated. At the hospital, doctors find a protein called troponin in his blood. Think of tronin like the liquid inside a glow stick. As long as the plastic casing is intact, the liquid stays inside. But if you snap the stick, it leaks out. Heart muscle cells are full of troponin. If those cells die, they break open and leak into the bloodstream. Robert is having a heart attack, but when they look at his arteries, they don't find a 100% blocked pipe. They find a 50% blockage. So how did he have a heart attack with blood still flowing? This is a supply and demand problem. While sitting on a couch, a 50% blockage is irrelevant. The hose is crimped, but enough water gets through to water the grass. But when Robert's heart rate spikes to 170 beats per minute, his heart demands a fire hose worth of blood. The crimped artery can only deliver a garden hose worth. The demand exceeds the supply, and the heart muscle starts to suffocate. This is a skier. In Robert's case, there was an extra factor, atrial fibrillation, or AIB. Your heart runs on an electrical grid, creating a coordinated squeeze. In a fib, the top chambers stop beating and start quivering. This chaos messes up the timing. If you combine a partial blockage with the rapid heartbeat of a fib, you create the perfect storm. The heart is beating so fast it doesn't have time to fill, and the arteries can't deliver enough oxygen to sustain the pace. This highlights the 70% threshold. Generally, you will not feel chest pain until an artery is roughly 70% blocked. Below that, your heart compensates. Above that, you might feel tightness when walking upstairs that goes away when you sit down. We call this stable anger. It's your body's check engine light. But remember, the majority of heart attacks occur in people with less than 50% blockage because soft plaques are more prone to popping than big stable ones. So, if you can't feel it, is there any good news? Your heart has a secret backup system called collateral circulation. Think of your main arteries as interstates. If a jam persists for years, your heart paves side streets to bypass the blockage. This is why a 70-year-old might survive a heart attack that kills a 40-year-old. The older heart had time to build those detours. In a younger person, the rupture is sudden. The highway shuts down and there's no way around it. One of the best ways to force these vessels to grow zone 2 and HIIT training. Exercise builds the network that buys you time. And time is the only currency that matters. In the ER, we say time is muscle. 20 minutes, irreversible damage begins. 90 minutes, heart tissue turns to scar tissue. Scar tissue doesn't pump. To save the muscle, you have to recognize the symptoms. Men usually get the Hollywood heart attack, chest pressure, and arm pain. For women, it's insidious, extreme fatigue, shortness of breath, or even intense acid reflux. If you feel a sudden sense of doom, don't ignore it. Fixing the plumbing. If the plumbing fails, cardiologists perform a PCI. They thread a tube through your wrist, find the jam with dye, and inflate a balloon to smash the plaque. Then they deploy a stent, a metal mesh scaffold that holds the artery open forever. Now let's talk scans to find hidden culprit, the screening strategy. But the goal is to find the fire before the house burns down. Standard blood work only tells you the ingredients in your blood. It doesn't tell you if they're sticking to the walls. You need better data. CAC score, a 5-minute scan for hardened calcium. A score of 0 is perfect. Over 400 is a ticking time bomb. Next scan is CT angiogram. This sees the soft plaque, the invisible unstable blisters that haven't hardened yet. This is the ultimate early warning system. The healthy heart attack is almost always a tragedy of ignorance. Control your blood pressure to stop the mechanical tearing of your arteries. Manage your blood sugar to prevent inflammation and keep moving. Don't guess if you're healthy. Use the tech we have and know.